Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're going to a galaxy far, far away, but also surprisingly close to home. We're diving into The Empire Strikes Back, but with a twist, our source material. Well, let's just say it takes a fun, sometimes even irreverent look at the film. So get ready. We're about to see what hope looks like when the odds are really stacked against you.
Yeah, what I find interesting is how this source material digs into the human side of things,
Yeah.
because Empire is known for being darker,
Yeah.
more challenging than the first film. It throws these heroes into situations where strength isn't about winning, it's more about enduring.
Exactly. And it all starts on Hoth, right?
Yeah.
This planet, so icy, it makes your average winter feel like a tropical vacation.
Yeah.
Our source actually calls it, get this, the Rebel Alliance's worst camping trip ever, which honestly I kind of get.
Oh, totally.
Right.
But that harsh setting, that does something really interesting, I think. It sets the tone for the whole film. It shows us the rebels are constantly under pressure. They're not just fighting the Empire, they're fighting the elements just to survive.
It's like the universe itself is testing their commitment to the whole cause.
Right.
And then, bam, out of nowhere,
Mm.
Luke gets attacked by a wampa.
Oh, yeah.
Our source describes it as, and I quote, a yeti with a serious case of the Mondays. Which, I mean, who hasn't been there, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I had a few of those Mondays.
Haven't we all?
But it's a good reminder, though, that even when you think you're safe, threats can just pop up, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But it also shows us something that our source calls Han Solo's darkly practical side. Remember how he rescues Luke?
Oh, yeah. It's not exactly the most glamorous rescue mission in the galaxy, right? Stuffing your friend inside a dead tauntaun. It's little huh?
I guess so, right?
I don't know.
I mean, it shows that Han will do whatever it takes to survive, right? Even if it means making tough, maybe even, little unsavory choices.
Yeah.
It's that grittiness that makes him such a great character, I think. But things are about to get much bigger than one grumpy snow monster,
Oh, yeah.
much bigger.
Because here come the AT walkers. And let me tell you, the Empire, they don't do subtle.
No, they don't.
Our source says they're like walking skyscrapers of doom, which is pretty accurate.
Oh, yeah, spot on.
Right.
The Battle of Hoth is such a brilliant example of visual storytelling, I think. The AT-ATs, they represent that overwhelming power of the Empire. They're just towering over these tiny, scrappy rebel forces.
Yeah, our source calls it a gnat versus elephant situation, which, I mean, yeah, that sums it up.
Sums it up pretty well, yeah.
But in all that chaos, we see these little moments of incredible resilience.
Exactly. Luke and his snowspeeder, right? Pulling off these insane maneuvers, it's almost like watching this desperate last-ditch effort, right? And then you have Leia, always the leader, trying to keep everyone together as everything's falling apart.
Yeah, and then you've got Han Solo frantically trying to get that Millennium Falcon running. Our source makes this interesting connection that they say Han's got this millennial energy about him in this scene.
Oh, I see what they mean. Yeah, there's this, we'll figure it out, even if it's held together with, duct tape and hope kind of vibe, right?
Yeah.
It definitely resonates with a generation that's, used to making things work, even when the resources are limited. That's for sure.
It's a good reminder that resourcefulness, a little bit of creative problem solving, are sometimes the best weapons you have, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're fighting an evil empire or, just Monday morning traffic.
Mm-hmm.
But as we know, they barely make it out of Hoth alive.
Barely.
And that tension between Han and Leia is thick enough to cut with a lightsaber.
Oh, yeah. Their dynamic is so fascinating. The source points out how they're bickering. It's not just romantic tension. It's a clash of personalities,
Yeah.
right? A clash of leadership styles. Han is all about instinct and action, right? While Leia, she's strategic, she's calculated.
It's like watching a space-age power couple constantly negotiating who gets to hold the blaster.
Nah.
And of course, let's not forget C-3PO, providing that comedic relief with his constant worrying. It's like having your anxious inner voice suddenly become a very vocal droid.
Yeah. C-3PO is that voice of doubt, that voice of caution, right?
Yeah.
He's always calculating the odds, which in a way makes him the most human of all of them, don't you think?
Yeah.
But while they're dealing with all that, Luke's off on a completely different kind of journey. He goes from the icy plains of Hoth to the swampy, mysterious world of Dagobah. Talk about a change of pace, right?
Yeah. He's looking for this legendary Jedi Master, right?
Yeah.
And what does he find?
Right.
Yoda. Our source calls him the wisest little green dude in the galaxy. But let's be real, he doesn't exactly make a grand entrance.
No, not at all. That's what's so brilliant about Yoda's introduction, I think. You're expecting this, powerful, imposing figure, right? And instead you get this, well, swamp gremlin who seems more interested in stealing Luke's lunch than teaching him how to use the Force.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate don't judge a book by its cover situation. But Yoda's lessons are about so much more than, lightsaber skills. He's teaching Luke about facing self-doubt, controlling his emotions, and understanding the true nature of trying.
Right, and those are lessons that resonate far beyond the Star Wars universe, don't you think? Think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself, right? Or let your emotions get the better of you? Or maybe you felt like you weren't trying hard enough.
Yeah.
Yoda's teachings, I think, they offer this framework for navigating those internal struggles that we all have, for finding that balance within ourselves.
It's like he's saying, hey, the Force isn't just about, moving objects with your mind. It's about understanding your own inner power. But back on the drama-filled side of the galaxy, Han and Leia are about to face one of the biggest betrayals, I think, in cinematic history. Enter Lando Calrissian.
Oh, Lando. Our source describes Lando as, and I quote, smoothness personified. And they're not wrong. He's charming, he's charismatic, he seems to have it all together.
Yeah.
Which makes the betrayal that much more shocking, right?
Oh, it's like that friend who borrows your speeder and then sells it for scrap metal, Right. Not cool, Lando. Not cool.
Not cool. But you know what? His betrayal, it highlights this painful truth. Sometimes even those we trust can let us down, especially when they're caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's Darth Vader, who seems to have a permanent reservation on the worst villain of the year list. The way he just casually orders Han to be frozen in carbonite is just chilling.
It really is. It's like he's ordering takeout, not sentencing someone to a fate worse than death. It's that casual cruelty that makes him so terrifying. But this moment also highlights Leia's strength, though, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't crumble under pressure. She keeps fighting. She keeps hoping.
Yeah, and speaking of resilience, Luke, right, sensing his friend's danger through the Force, decides to abandon his training and rush to save them. It's a classic hero move, but also a little reckless, considering he's still basically a Jedi Padawan.
Yeah, it shows how Luke's compassion and loyalty, drive him to act even when he's not fully prepared. It's a reminder that sometimes the heart leads the way, even when your head is screaming, run!
Yeah.
And that leads us to one of the most iconic confrontations, right, in cinematic history. Luke versus Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah.
The lightsaber duel is visually stunning, but our source points out something really interesting. It's also incredibly brutal.
Yeah, it is.
It's not just, a flashy sword fight. It's a raw, visceral battle for survival. Vader is relentless. I mean, he throws everything he's got at Luke, even chucking pipes at him like they're oversized javelins.
It's true.
There's a real sense of desperation, I think, in his movements. Like he's driven by something more than just a desire to win.
Yeah. And then just when you think things can't get any more intense,
Yeah.
Vader drops the bombshell, I am your father.
That line,
Really?
I mean, come on. It's a line that's been quoted, parodied, and debated for decades.
It really has.
It's a revelation that completely shatters Luke's world, It forces him to confront a truth he never could have imagined.
Right.
A truth that changes everything.
It's like finding out your long-lost uncle is actually an evil space wizard who wants to rule the galaxy.
Uh-huh, exactly. Talk about awkward family reunions.
Right. But this reveal also adds a whole new layer to the conflict, doesn't it? It's no longer just good versus evil. It's about family, legacy, and this complex relationship between a father and a son.
Absolutely. And on that note, I think we need to take a break. There's just so much to unpack here.
There is. Join us for part 2, where we delve deeper into the themes of hope, resilience, and the power of facing your fears, all through the lens of The Empire Strikes Back. Stay tuned.